nervous because I'm here now.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell. And in this episode, we're going to discuss, does Lamar really want Dez Bryant to join the Baltimore Ravens? He didn't seem overly enthused when asked that question in a recent post-game or a post-practice conference. So, Jimmy, I mean, when you saw, I mean, do you have the quotes in front of you?
Yeah, I do. So
Okay.
I want to read the quote first, and then I'll let you know what I gleaned based off like body language as well and things. He said, this is what Lamar said when he was asked the question about the potential of Dez joining the Ravens. He said, we've got a lot of great receivers on the team right now, end quote. New quote, it's up to the front office. I've been seeing Dez Bryant on Instagram and stuff like that, running his routes, competing against cornerbacks. He looks pretty good on social media. If the front office likes him, we'll have to see when he gets here, end quote. So, you know what? He was not championing Dez Bryant like he was AB. I get there's a gap in talent, but, he doesn't seem too enthused to me off the bat. I don't know, Lamar's never been – he's not a tactful guy, right? Like Lamar wouldn't be to me –
too genuine.
He wouldn't be a great politician to me. Because he shows,
and that's a compliment.
Right, absolutely. He shows all his cards all the time. How he feels is what you get, right? And so, I think he was not too excited about it and was just kind of like, well, we got the guys we need here too. So whatever you guys want to do is up to you. That was my take on it. So I guess if I had to answer the question, does he really want to play with Dez? I would say that he's extremely indifferent about it.
Doesn't care either way. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree only that I don't think you can get anything from his comments in that conference because here's exactly what I think happened. I think the Antonio Brown stuff came up about a month ago where he was asked multiple times, and not just him, but John was asked multiple times, and a lot of team, Hollywood, a lot of team was asked about AB. And what Lamar said during that was, yeah, I want to bring in AB pretty much. I mean, absolutely. He's a great player. He said all that. What I think is after that happened, somebody for the Ravens said, Lamar, I know you like the guy, and that's fine, but the problem is when you say that is what some people can misconstrue that as is we're not good enough at wide receiver. We need help at wide receiver. That's not a good message to be sending to now, whether that's your message or not, that's what can be twisted in the social media or other media. And they can say, wow, he must be worried about their receivers. They need help. So they probably just said, just from now on, just say he looks like he's a talented player. If our front office needs to add him, we'll add him. I guarantee it sounded to me like Lamar was given some instructions on how to maybe not misstep or misspeak and say the wrong thing. And I understand that. Most players tiptoe that line and say, I don't want to talk about players that aren't on my team if the front office likes them. That's like a very generic, and it sounds like somebody tried to coach him on how to give a more generic answer and one of those, what we're used to getting from athletes.
Yeah, Chad Steele, maybe grabbed him up and was like, hey, Lamar, let's talk about how we can handle this best. I guess that's a good point. The other thing, too, of course, every coach and front office is extremely paranoid about giving away any sort of competitive advantage that they have. While the media, of course, knew that Dez was going to be here, maybe they didn't want our own team, feeding the flames.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a good point as well. That's really interesting because now that you mention it, when you read it, it sounds just like coach speak, right? Like
that's all. It's like his version of it because, as you said, he's not polished as far as because he's just so genuine and just so from the heart that normally he just answers. I mean,
you ask him a question, he's going to answer to you straight up.
Yeah, so it just sounded to me too much like coach speak and not enough like Lamar. And so, I think he got a little bit of, coaching on that. And that's fine because you don't want to – even if, obviously Hollywood's not going to get offended if he says we should bring in Dez. But maybe one of the other guys –
right. Fighting for a spot is like, dude, come on. I've been sweating, out here.
And maybe it gets people to think like we did. Man, Boykin must not be doing very much if they're bringing Dez in, and now Lamar's championing for him, if he were to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I think it was just coach speak.
Man, I'm starting to lean a little bit to your side. However, I just can't help thinking Lamar got that good at coach speak overnight.
Well, he wasn't great at it.
No, he still wasn't great at it, but that was a lot better than, if you contrast that to the AB, it was pretty night and day. in the response. And I think that was pretty noticeable to people right away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obviously noticeable to us. So if I had to say, yeah, I mean, like I said, he's indifferent about it. Now let's end this with this. I need a solid prediction. Mm-hmm. Friday is Dez putting pen to paper.
Man, that's tough
he works
because
out
we
on
don't
Thursday.
know what we don't know what that workout is going to look like. And I'll say this: it's not just Dez they're bringing in. They're bringing in a punter. They're bringing in another wide receiver / kick returner, I believe, from the Giants, who's a Pro Bowler with the Giants. His name escapes me off the top of my head, but it's not just. I just want to point out, it's not just Dez coming in. But I would, man, if you have to put me right on feet to the flames, I'm going to say he signs. I'm going to say they bring in a veteran insurance policy. But then that means, okay, so if he comes in, that means you got to cut one of the locks that we thought were the 6 to make the wide receiver room. And I guess is Chris Moore the guy?
Yeah, he's got the broken finger.
Because he's got the broken finger. And let's be honest, his contributions are almost primarily on special teams. And he gives very little on the offensive end. And we know that Harbaugh likes versatility. So here's my thing. What if Duvernay, Prochet are showing that they can be pretty darn good gunners on punt coverage? That's what Chris Moore, made a lot of his plays. So maybe they're seeing enough out of these rookies that they can replace Moore's contributions on special teams and cut him and add Dez as an insurance for that big body possession receiver that Boykin might not be able to turn into.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll mention about that, and this is to buffer your point, is that while Harbaugh would be the last guy to diminish the value of special teams, I think the NFL in general is diminishing the value of special teams. And so maybe, look, even though that's John's bread and butter and that's what he proverbially cut his teeth on in the NFL, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. The league is changing. The value of a good gunner might not be what it once was, right?
Absolutely. So, and also, it's not like Chris Moore brings any punt return, but he brings some kick return. But there's a lot of guys.
Hardly even happen anymore.
Exactly. It hardly ever happened, and there's a lot of guys that can do kick return. It's punt return more so to me that is it's the specialty of the team.
Right. Like at the end of the day, for me, I'm telling him to kneel everything unless you got a guy like Jacoby Jones back there, who is a legitimate
the ball to
threat.
Lamar.
Right,
and
exactly.
That offense.
Right. Like, what do you – yeah, exactly. So we want to know your guys' thoughts. Does Lamar want to play with Dez? What were you guys' thoughts on the comments? If you haven't seen them, go ahead and go check out the presser. But also, we want to know, is he signing? Is he not signing? I guess to answer the question, I think he's signing. I've been saying that. I think Dez Bryant's going to sign. I think he's going to have 6 touchdowns this year. So
that would match his last year in productivity. But also, I wanted to preview for the fans.
Oh yeah,
we are going to be having on Hollywood's. I guess I spilled the beans. We were going to say a special guest, but I done spilled it. We are going to be having on Marquise Hollywood Brown's personal trainer onto the show to discuss the transformation that Hollywood made in the offseason, putting on all that weight and also improving his speed. And I know every fan's excited to hear that. So, yeah, check us out. I believe Monday night we'll be having him on, so tune in.
Absolutely. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.